Hey, here we are. Ralph here, Steve right next to me. City TV, channel 16 in Santa Monica, LA 36 if you're in Los Angeles.
And beautiful downtown Santa Monica.
What about it? Oh, here we are.
We are. We're live. We're local. We're here to talk to your problems. We just had a bankruptcy problem. We've dealt with
credit cards,
yeah. A death in a swimming pool situation, the rip-off of selling the state buildings.
Yeah.
And now let's bounce around to a fire situation.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that.
Unfortunate fire known as the station fire. 2 firemen were killed, and a number, about 200 houses were destroyed.
Do you remember?
And I understand how this took place. There was a road which was going to be where they were going to stop the fire at, because the houses were going up the other way, where 200 houses were.
Okay.
They had worked it out that because it was nighttime, that at 7 o'clock in the morning, they were going to make fire drops that would allegedly stop the fire from crossing the fire break, the road,
right,
and save all the homes.
So what happened?
At 7 o'clock in the morning, they looked up into the air, and there were no airplanes or helicopters.
Because?
At 7:30 in the morning, they looked up in the air, and there were
no air support.
At 8 o'clock, they looked up in the air, nothing.
So where was the air support?
About 9 o'clock, the fire had already jumped the road, and then the air support comes in.
Where were they for those 2 hours?
The question is that the Forest Service is supposedly in control of defending the fire, but it uses and contracts out to county and state facilities, which are the airplanes, etc. And the question is who called for the backup?
Yeah.
And nobody. Congress is investigating it.
Yeah.
And nobody is indicating that.
Isn't that pretty unusual?
They called. Well,
I mean, it's unusual for Congress to investigate how a Forest Service reacts to a fire situation.
Well, but it's the local congressman, which I don't blame him.
Yeah.
From Southern California that are on this committee, and it's been reported that whether they made the call or not, no one knows. They were supposed to make it at nighttime.
Yeah.
There were planes available to drop the fire.
Were they just saving money by not putting them in the air?
Well, the Forest Service has to pay for the outside
yeah,
services.
Right.
And they had, as usual, had budgetary problems.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's say that Congress comes to the conclusion that the Forest Service really messed this up, that because of the Forest Service inaction or lack of reaction, that homes were lost and property was lost. Those people who lost their homes and lost their property, do they have any civil redress?
Well, the issue is, in blunt language, can you sue the fire department?
There you go.
Under state law,
yeah,
they're totally immune. So they don't turn the water on, they don't go to the fire, the hoses don't work, they were absolutely negligent, et cetera, et cetera. There's total immunity for the fire department, so there wouldn't be any lawsuit. Whether or not there's total immunity on the federal side of it, I'm not sure. But I would suspect it's probably similar. So people die, houses are burned up. It sounded like a cover-up. I never got the call. I never made the call.
Yeah.
And now it's coming down. And if they didn't have fire insurance, a lot of people are out of luck.
They're just completely gone. Or a different group of those people are underinsured, so they're not going to be able to replace those homes. It's any way you look at it, it's not a good thing.
1-800-405-4222, Legal Help Live, and we'll take your calls on areas of the law that affect you personally, deeply, or what you're passionate about. Anywhere from auto accidents to replacing a hip, or whether or not the hip.
How about landlord-tenant?
Landlord-tenant problems.
Because Victor wants to talk to us about a landlord-tenant problem.
Well, why don't we talk to Victor then?
Hey, Victor.
Hello, how are you?
We're very well, Victor. How are you?
I'm good. I have a quick question. I have a situation with my landlord, which I didn't know until her and another tenant had a dispute. She's renting a house, and the place where I'm staying, it was an illegal conversion from a garage/storage place. And I didn't know that this was an illegal conversion until we went to court because she had a dispute with another tenant. Now, in order for her, she asked me to move out because she wanted to appear in the court as if this place where I'm living, it was an empty space, meaning that I wasn't living in this place.
Wait, she wanted to. Wait a second, Victor.
The judge asked her if the place where I'm living.
I need to understand something. Are you telling us that she wanted to go to court and say that the space where you were living, no one was living there? Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay.
as if I wasn't here.
Well, remember when you went to court, you raised your hand, you took an oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the whole truth, so help you.
That is correct. Yes.
Right. So if you didn't tell the truth, you're committing perjury. Perjury is
Right.
a felony. So you have to tell the truth. If the place, the apartment or the garage or whatever it is, does not meet appropriate code or zoning requirements or city requirements, a telephone call to the local code enforcement people will get them to come out and either not allow her to rent it out or make them bring it up to code. Also, if it's not legally permitted by law, then you could you may not have to pay the rent during the time period. It's called it's inhabitability. You may not have to pay the rent during the time period, and it's dangerous. Besides all that stuff, so
Victor, what's happening with the place now? And where are you living?
I understand what he's saying. When I went to the court, the judge asked me if how long I've been staying in this place, and it was for the past 18 months. So I didn't lie about that. I told the truth. The landlord, which is the owner of the property, wanted to appear in court as if this place was never rented to me. Now, I called the building and safety because she needed to make some changes in this my residence, right?
Okay.
And now she wants to evict me because the judge found out that the place where I'm living, it was an illegal conversion. And now she wants to make an access door to the main house.